What do you want me to say?
Well, we've officially started now. I've just hit the timer.
All right. So we had a discussion on Saturday via text. We all weren't together. So we wanted to know the best way to explain how the system can't lose to members and non-members. So
in the long term.
Yeah, in the long term.
Because it can lose. Well, I guess it's the start of the discussion.
Well, it can't actually lose.
You can start.
The only way it can lose is if your bankroll allocation's wrong or if you stop following when it lost in the short term.
Yeah.
What's the short term? How long is the short term?
Well,
when does the short term become the long term?
Why don't you explain what your explanation was to me and Steve?
Yeah, so 100 units is how you should start following our investment here, which is the system, right? So you got 100 units. Now, if you follow with a 1% unit size, which is 1/100th of that 100 units. Now, for me, let's just say, first you need to understand that 100 units is just money that you have to leave there. It's not money that Steve would say you go and pay nappies with or rent. It's you've allocated, let's say, $1,000 to the system. Your unit size is 1% of that, which is 10. Now, unless you take that money out, that will never get to zero. We will never go minus 100 units.
1% is 1.
1 unit.
Sorry, 1,000. Not 100.
Okay.
Didn't I say 1,000?
Fucked if I know.
I did. I
The
wrote
whiteboard's
100.
That was 100 units. Yeah, it does.
100 units, correct.
Oh,
but it's
my
$1,000. Right, so 1% of 1,000 is $10. So you would start with a $10 unit size after you've set up your accounts. And then if you keep following the system, assuming you never change your unit size, which people are going to increase, you would never go negative 100. The worst period ever, if you look at our 6,000 tips, is negative 24.1 units, which happened in November. So if you had 100 units in the worst period ever, just say you started exactly right before it, you would then have 75.9 units still left in your bank. So in the worst period ever, if you stop then, you stop at negative 24.1. But if you keep following, you're now 130 units or something, 118 units. So you're up 18 from when you started with 100. This can never go to zero, ever.
Yeah,
unless
but like,
you don't do this.
See, what is still confusing there? Personally, I still think that makes a lot of sense to someone who has been around the community and understands money management and understands, all this sort of stuff. But to someone who's brand new, that's a bit of mumbo jumbo. Like,
no,
what do you mean? What do you mean it can't
subs.
lose? What do you mean it can't lose? I've just started with 100 units. Now you're saying I got 75.9 units.
Yeah, but if you keep
what do you
going,
mean I can't lose?
So
there are a lot of assumptions, I think.
Yeah, but like
this is to a member.
Like that.
When people go down to 75.9 units, you're just saying, all right, now it's going to get to 118 units. But to someone who's just lost 24.1 units, they started with 100, now they're at 75.9. In their mind, they're just thinking, well, I'm just going to lose another 24.1 units. Why am I not going to lose another 24.1 units?
This is where probably our content hasn't explained this at the low level, like to people. So I've made a video on this, but it's not posted yet. It goes for about 18 minutes. Now,
how do you explain that?
I got cash and I showed, here's your $2,000. One of these, so $120 notes. One of these, so in this example, I've used 10, just double it. I've used 1 unit as 1 note. I said, you can lose 20 of these, but you won't lose 100 of these. Now, how we won't lose 100 of these...
that's what you need to explain. Why can you not lose 100 of them?
That's going into another conversation. That's talking about edge. That's talking about...
See, that's where I think average comes into it.
But that's it. Not even...
Well, it is edge, but it's like edge comes about from average. So like So
you like... Yeah.
I like the idea that on average, every single month, we will make 30 units on average. So in order for us to go negative, if we just look purely at averages, in order for us to go negative 100, we have to have 3 months, 3 1/3 months losing. 3 1/3 months. Wait, hang on.
No, you need to lose.
Wait, no, I just fully...
No,
that's not right.
Every month.
Negative 33 for 3 months, which just is not going to happen. All we need to lose...
What about 12 months? How would you go negative 100? You would have to lose like 8.5 every month.
8.5 units every single month for us to go negative 100. But like on average, like this is that was a poor explanation actually. I got a little bit confused then. But on average, we profit 29 units a month. We have done that. We have done that for literally over 3 years. So it's yes, the average can change over time. We might have a couple of months where we blow up. We might have a couple of months where we lose, and the average will change a little bit. But on average, over such a long period of time, like probability averages, it's only reliable if it's over a long period of time. An average over 2 months means fuck all because that's small sample size. But we've got such a large sample size. So when we say we average 29 units profit a month, we like it's not fact, but it's very reliable.
Yeah.
So for us to go negative 100, like if we go negative 10, therefore we should be making, if we go negative 10 in the first week of the month, we should be making 40 units profit in the next 3 weeks. Now, of course, that's not going to happen, but that's not going to happen because
sample size not big enough.
the sample size, the average won't come out in the wash. When we say it all comes out in the wash, that's what we mean. The average,
wash is large.
A wash is large. So you need to throw heaps of shit in and it all comes out in the wash. That's probably gotten confusing.
So what I would say to that is, how does someone know that, what is like, okay, we've averaged 29 units, so let's just round up to 30 for 37 closing months, right? Do you assume everyone knows what an average is? This sounds stupid.
I do assume that, yeah.
Because I don't.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the problem is in that explanation. I think, and I replied to you when you wrote all this out, is that the most people that are coming and joining have that gambler's mindset.
Yeah.
And I think that's more important to change than explaining this, because even with an explanation of this, the gamblers instantly, kind of like what Steve said, as soon as they get to minus 24, they're going to go, fuck, here we go again. This is the story of all of my betting, regardless of any tipster I followed, because their mindset isn't like, this is a long-term strategy. They're not thinking about, I'm here for 12 months. Like if you just extend it out, if every single subscriber joined, and when they joined, they knew that they were going to be here for 12 months, I think that they would get way less caught up in that, knowing what they're trying to achieve. It's like, it'd be like some idiot, and I texted this as well, like you go to the gym and you're like, my goal is to make 10 grand this year. My goal at the gym is to bench press 100 kilos. And you go to the gym and then like after 4 sessions, you can't bench press 100 kilos. And you're like, oh, fuck this. And then you just stop.
So just in that video, I've included that example, and also an example around, I think what you said another one the other day about money and wages and earning a certain amount and quitting your job.
It's the same thing. Like this is your, like when you start a career, like you don't, like say even an accountant, you know that you're going to make like 40 grand in your first year or whatever. And you know that. And you grind through and get through that because you know that like after you've done your CPA in 3 years time, like you already have a massive time horizon. After you've done your CPA, you're going to get 80 or 90K. Plus I can go work overseas and then make 100, 120K. So some people can do that.
Yeah.
And if you just apply that same logic to your match betting, so it would just be so easy.
So there's 3 things. The time, 100%. As soon as they say, I'm here for 12 months, that flat out just guarantees. Yeah. The second one is when you actually lose, like negative 24, understanding that it has to come back eventually is correct too.
I think to clarify that, why negative 24 is the worst is because that is the longest period it has taken for the average to, or for the, like we talk about variance and all this shit, but for the average to swing it back into our favor. So sometimes it takes negative 2 units and then it flips back into our favor. Like now that's not obviously correct.
I would use I'm going to use a sporting term to
flip a coin. If you get 8 tails in a row, technically, if you stop there, that's wrong. That's what shouldn't happen, right? But if you flip the
that's
coin
a good way of
1,000
looking
times,
that's a good way of looking at it.
There's going to be a close to 500.
So you're saying if you flip a coin 8 times and you got heads, and then someone asked you and said, "How did you go?" and be like, "Nah, I've got a 100% heads coin," they'll be like, "Well, that's fucking stupid. You didn't flip the coin long enough." So that's a good way of doing it actually.
Like getting fucking 6 tails in a row.
Yeah,
and stopping at
stopping in a 50-50 game. Yeah,
but if. Yeah, so...
but it's not a 50-50 game.
No.
But we have...
That's the equivalent. That's the equivalent.
I think a simpler one of that.
Give us the sports example.
The sport example would be like a cricket run rate. So like at the end of the innings... You
can't have a negative run rate.
Who knows what cricket is?
But no,
at the end of you can have run rates where you can have overs where you don't score. So at the end of the 50 overs, you made 300 runs, but you didn't make a run every single ball.
Of course,
some balls you made no runs, some balls you lost a wicket, other balls you make 6 runs, and then if you just keep following it through the whole innings, you make 300.
That's very good for subs who follow sport.
No, you can apply that. Yeah,
or non-gambler betting person. That's elite for subs.
But like I'd say, a lot of our subs are pretty sport savvy sort of people. Like obviously there's going to be some people out there, sorry if you're not, but like you can apply it to anything. You like how often do you hear about, we're not going to rate ourselves on one game? We're going to talk out like
Yeah,
coaches talk about it
100%.
all the time.
Yeah.
Like we're going to consider, we're going to look at the end of the season, then we'll review at the end of the season
Yeah.
where we went wrong. We're not going to go, holy shit, toys out of the cot. We lost round 11. We're fucked. No, that's not how it works.
So, but I still think there's everything that you've said. I agree with the gambler element. There goes. I'm negative 24. They don't see I'm plus. I've got 75 units of my bank left.
yeah.
And in 12 months' time, I'll have 375.
But
Yeah.
why would you look at it that way? Because it's like, that's not a positive. Like,
But we're saying they started, and this
Yeah.
instantly happens too. Most
But
of the
I would
time,
say-
people started in October, and they
Correct.
were plus 60
oh, no.
already.
Yeah, this
gonna
is
say,
worst case scenario.
that's
So that's
why-
the worst ever.
That's
Yeah.
why the mindset thing is massive.
That is worst case,
because,
literally, yeah.
Because even if they understand bankroll, they understand unit, but like they can go from their 100 units to 140 units, like heaps of members did, and then you go through a period where you go minus 24, and they just instantly think, I'm fucking losing, and
still
it's
plus
like,
16.
dude, you're actually still in profit since you started,
Yeah.
and this is the worst thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Like this is the worst period. And
Yeah.
once you get to a 20, a 30, a 50, $100 unit size, this is going to happen again. And you're going to have more profit in your pocket, but in these periods, you're going to lose more money than you would now, but eventually you won't care.
Yeah, and on the spreadsheet, this is something I didn't even think to put in the video. This is the only thing I didn't put was on the spreadsheet. You should check your profit. So if your spreadsheet and you get to month 2 and you've made 30 units, so let's just say you started on a 10, you're up only $300, some deposit offers, 500. Let's just say you're up 500. Then we have a negative 10. It's still going to say $400 profit on your spreadsheet.
Yeah,
So what? You're going to stop
legit.
like that.
And if you had $5,000 in your bankroll and you're on $50 units and then you lose 1,000 and you still got $4,000 profit
Still
in
got
your
80
pocket,
units,
like, like, are you going to stop? Like, you've just made $4,000 doing all of these same things over and over again. I think people get caught up in the actual result more so than like
Correct.
the process of what you're doing. And if you just keep doing what you're doing, yes, sometimes you'll lose money, sometimes you won't make any money, but more often than not, you're going to be making money in the, like, even on just days, I'm referring to days, weeks, 65% of days, 70% of weeks, you're going to be making money. There's still going to be periods where you're not, but then all of the months and then all of the years, like every year you're making 300 units. Every year,
On average,
minimum,
yeah.
like 320,
well,
330.
that's what Troy Butso explained so well. I think it was really good. He's the way that he views it. Obviously, I mentioned him in the wrap up video after Saturday, and then we spoke to him yesterday as well. And the way he described it, the way that because he's gone from basically first couple of weeks on the system, he went negative 25 or something. Like he was literally the worst case. He was like actually someone who was the worst case scenario.
That was like end of
weekend.
September.
Grand final weekend, and now he's turned around and he has such a like solid mindset now. He's like, I literally don't give a fuck. Like winning day, losing day, I don't give a fuck. And I was like, how have you done that so quickly? Because even myself, through match betting, it still took probably going through the experience of a losing day, I'd say 5-10 times to become like, oh, I don't care anymore. And it's still testing. Hang on. What he says now, he's like, I just see it as a job. He's like, with a salary, you go to work Monday to Friday, and at the end of the year, you're going to get $75,000 as a salary. You're not going to get paid on the Monday and the Tuesday and the Wednesday and the Thursday and the Friday and rinse and repeat for 52 weeks. You don't get paid like that. You just get paid every fortnightly, every monthly. But over the year, I'm going to get 75 grand. He's like, over the year, I'm going to make 15 grand doing this. I'm not going to get paid every single Saturday. I'm not going to, and so he doesn't even see it as he's losing money because he's like, I'm not getting paid. I'm not losing anything. I'm not making anything. But it's like at the end of the month, I'm going to be 30 units up. At the end of 12 months, I'm going to be 300 units up or whatever. And so therefore, that's when I get paid. And then like that's when he gets paid. And it's like, so he doesn't care if it's money coming and going. It's just like money getting spent to make money sort of thing. And I thought that was a really, really like tangible way of applying it that could help people.
Yeah. Yeah, that's on the assumption that you actually keep working for 12 months.
Well,
which is the same as this. If you follow here and stop, you're not getting your 300 units.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Then minus 24.
you're also not going to lose weight. You're not going to bench press 100 kilos. You're not going to get a promotion.
Yeah.
You're not. What can you do? Like, what is one thing that you can do? And when you have one bad day, if you just stop doing it, that you're going to be successful in it.
None.
Literally nothing.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say to all of this is the assumption, even though through those periods, so Troy's one of my mates. I've grown up with him. Like he comes from a gym background. He's a powerlifter. Obviously, we did powerlifting with him, with a podcast with him. He gets the long game.
Yeah.
But the key thing is he was actually frustrated during these times.
Yeah, he
like
was.
even then, he was like texting me. Like he didn't change though anything. Nothing changed. So he kept following. He may have got emotional. Like he got frustrated.
Yeah.
Like you do with your work, you get fucking angry. Can't be fucked, but you still rock up. Otherwise, you don't get paid. So
Yeah, 100%.
That's the same
I
thing.
think it was obviously
Just rock up.
yeah, just rock up. It's a good way of doing it.
but
yeah.
like rock
Just
up for 12 months. Don't
Yeah,
rock
yeah.
up for 2 weeks.
Even if you just
You
keep
get
rocking up.
sacked, or
Just
you
keep
just-
showing
The
up.
more often you show up or rock up, whatever word we want to say, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, and I'll use someone who stayed for like 3 months, and he said at the end of November, I have a gut feeling. This is full gambler mindset. Gut feeling that this ain't gonna come back and turn around. That's literally what he said.
Well, that's 15.
I reckon that's a
the
good way to
mindset.
end
I
it.
want to quickly wrap it up. If anyone watching, we'd love to hear
Yeah,
what are your mantras? What are your mantras when you went through a losing period? If you had a losing start, whatever it is, or a losing week, a losing month potentially with the system, losing 30-day periods. What's your mantra that you use to help stay disciplined and think long term? Whatever works for you. Much like Troy Butto tells himself, what works for you and what do you think can work for other people as
And
well?
if you're not a sub, did that make any sense?
Correct.
Just keep rocking up.
So if you want to learn what match betting is and how to get started, there's a free course linked directly in the YouTube description. It goes for 60 minutes. It contains a number of videos explaining how it all works and how you can get started for free today.